Merab Dvalishvili defeated Sean O'Malley to win the UFC bantamweight title. See what fighters thought of his performance in the latest edition of MMA Pros React.
Yeah, I mean, I thought O'Malley was going to catch him until I kind of started getting a little bit closer to the fight, and I started talking to other people, and just getting their opinions and what they thought and blah, blah, blah. And so I was honestly, not to change my mind because I'm really bad at calling fights, but I did change my mind in this one and go Merab towards the end of it. Once I started to reflect on how badass it is to go on a 10 or 11 fight win streak and then also never be finished or anything like that, even though he does get clipped in some of his fights, the shots that he got clipped in weren't necessarily they were lead hooks. They weren't really things that O'Malley even throws, but I thought Merab did awesome. I think he fought the fight that you should fight if you have Merab's skill set against an O'Malley. I think he moved when he needed to move. I think the thing that I was most worried about is Merab's just a very excitable guy, and I was worried that he was just gonna not be patient and he was gonna bounce around and then make a mistake by going in. And he was completely patient. He was cool in there, except for the whole Tim Welch and his thing in the beginning of the fight. But man, he just did such an amazing job, and that's a really, really good win because O'Malley is a really serious fighter. And then even his one before against Henry, still in my head, that was such an amazing fight. So I know that a lot of fans were kind of bored with that one or whatever, but I really do like watching chess matches. And I think that was Merab just out chessing O'Malley, and that was exciting for me to watch. I even asked around, I was like, hey, did O'Malley look off, or was it kind of the style matchup, you think? And most of the answers that I got from people were it was the style matchup, and I kind of agree with it. I think that you just don't get to open up as a striker when you always have to worry about someone taking you down. Yeah. Especially get held down for as long as O'Malley was being held down. You really don't get to open up because it's just one of those, and you have a lot of ground to cover for the rest of the round, even if you do get up. So I think it was the style, man. I think that it's probably an injury that he's kind of been putting on the back burner for a long time. I did that a couple of years ago after, I think it was the Jan fight or something. I was like, look, I got to get this surgery because I put it on the back burner for way too long and took a little bit of time off that way. So I think that it didn't have much to do with the injury. It was probably one that he's had for a long time that he just put on the back burner, and now is probably a good time for him to take some time off.
You know what? I'm so glad that Merab won the fight, man. He's also an OG from Long Island at Ray Longo's. But the thing is, Merab showed up, and I told him at the top of the game, on that day, it's all about who shows up, and Merab did. Now, Sean O'Malley didn't look like the same O'Malley. He looked a little flat, but like I said, whoever shows up is going to win the fight. Merab showed up. He was relentless. He has cardio for days. It was just his time. It was his moment to go out there and win that fight. I know O'Malley's upset. I thought it was going to be a little bit harder for Merab, just the distance management of O'Malley and pulling things, out of the hat, the flying knees, the spin elbows, the spin back crescent kicks that O'Malley likes to throw. Could have thrown Merab off, but it was almost like he was a little flat out there. So hats off to Merab, man. He went out there and did exactly what he said he was going to do and brought the title home.
Honestly, I was kind of 50-50. I like Merab a lot. I see him all the time in Vegas. So, I was rooting for him, but I saw both sides. I could see Merab getting knocked out, and I could also see what he did. I saw both things happening, and Merab was just able to capitalize, and he made it look easy. He did what he does best, and he stuck to his game plan, and he's just he's a real problem. He has insane cardio. He doesn't get tired, and he's not afraid to get tired. So that's a problem for anybody.
Yeah, that was badass. Yeah, every time I go to Vegas, he's like my main training partner when I step on the syndicate mats. So to see him win is, it's awesome. He deserves it. He's always working hard. He's always pushing it. And, it gives me confidence knowing that we get good rounds. And so it gives me confidence going into this fight. I train with the best in the world, and I feel like I'm going to be one of the best in the world.
I love it. That's great. So I'm sure you had Merab winning going in, right? Because you train with him, you see him every day. Did you expect him to be that dominant in the fight?
For sure. I think I said this the whole time. I'm like, it's either O'Malley catches him or Merab just dominates. He just breaks people. So, but he has been known to get caught. Obviously, I'm in that boat. But the longer the fight goes, it it's just better and better for Merab because he never gets tired. He keeps the same pace. So if you start to falter, he'll capitalize on that. I was hoping he would get a finish, but it just didn't end up working out. But
well, yeah, O'Malley's tough to take out. Yeah, so
for sure. Yeah. He's only been finished once, and that was by Cheeto.
He's good. He's good. Like, he's good. He's on this understanding of the game is out of the rule. Like, what happening is that when you have someone that can manage the feint that much and can change the dynamic of the fight every time, and he can manage the stamina, he's unstoppable. He's just unstoppable because he can do it everything, and he can play with the game because he do understand what's going on in the game, and he do understand how to win an MMA fight. Not just that he's strong, grappling or strong, or wrestling or strong. No, he can understand the game, like the logic of the MMA.
I thought it was going to be a 50-50. Like, I was expecting a better fight, to be honest. And I don't know what's wrong with the champ, you know what I mean? He did say he got like a hip injury or something, right? So, yeah, he don't look like himself. And you know how Merab is, he don't get tired and stuff like that. So, yeah.
I figured we would dominate that fight through, but I thought like what was going to happen would happen come later, round 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, I knew we would have 3, 4, 5 in the books. You know, and to be honest, like I told Merab, like, listen, take your time in the first round, get the feeling, and you start going when you get the timing of Sean. You know, when you start to have the timing and you feel that you can see the shots coming and you see him and we make the reads, then you go when you want to go. You know, and that's kind of how I train all my fighters. Is it's ultimately our job to put the information and the tools in the toolbox and for them to use it. It's definitely in the top 3 as far as having somebody that, you know, you legitimately helped get there. He's such a big part of our team the last couple of years. He's such a great guy. He works his ass off, and it's so good to be able to have an example like that of somebody that you can show the younger fighters and go, hey, you know, if you do the things that you're supposed to do, this can happen. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into play in fighting, you know, talent, being, you know, having the talent to be a champion, having the work ethic to be a champion. But there's a lot of luck that usually comes into it, being in the right time, right place. But Merab literally did it the hardest path possible. The grinding, beat every number in front of him, took out every champ in front of him, took out everybody that was placed in front of him to get where he got. And he probably only was going to have one shot at making that happen, and he did. And that's like, there's no greater story, you know, to be able to express to the other fighters. There's no greater, like the joy that I felt just for him was amazing in such a big stage and such a big, you know, special event and sphere. Like that was like overwhelming itself, let alone just having that performance and being able to share that cage in that moment with him. It's definitely top 3, if not the top. It was amazing. I felt a lot of feelings, you know, in that that lead up and the fight night. It's the first time I've ever, in 20 some years of doing this, it's the first time I've ever had any kind of like nerves in a good or a bad way. It was just different. It was crazy, you know, like how much they hyped Sean up. And, you know, not a single person gave Merab a chance. Not a single person said, you know, he's going to win. And definitely nobody thought he would win in the fashion that he did. And so it was just special all the way around, man. It's something I'll never forget.
That was a tremendous effort on his part. His nickname is perfect for him, The Machine. The guy did not stop from bell to bell. Congrats to him. I think Sean didn't look himself. He looked a little flat. And then obviously we got news after a little later on in the week that he's getting surgery on a torn labrum in his hip. So that kind of makes sense on how the fight went. That's not taking anything from Merab at all. He did what he was supposed to do and he performed amazing. And to watch him celebrate after the fight was just super cool to watch.
Yeah, it was. Did you have Sean winning going in, or did you think Merab was going to win that?
I personally thought Sean was going to win, yeah.